What's up guys, this is Chad with Living the Van Life. This video here is going to be for any of you Sprinter van owners that are interested in getting better tunes out of your road trip machine as you look to hit the road. Right now I'm on an 8.5 hour road trip traveling from San Diego up to Lake Tahoe area. Now it's about a 550 mile trek. That's a lot of time to spend behind the steering wheel traveling out here through some remote territory. Now, one of my favorite ways to pass the time on these longer trips is by listening to podcasts or just throwing on my favorite tunes and jamming out as I fly down the highway. And especially out here on the open road, when your favorite tune is blasting and you're cruising down the highway, you want to be bumping a little bit. Well, these Sprinter vans, they leave a little bit to be desired for their sound system. Now that's where RoamRig has come into play, and they've actually developed a stereo upgrade system, what they're calling the Beatbox stereo upgrade. And it's made specifically for the Sprinter vans. For any of you that are part of the channel and you're here for the adventures and the backcountry camping and the winter camping, stay tuned because there are more videos coming. But this video right here is going to be for us fellow Sprinter vans that are interested in some new tunes. So keep watching this video. We're going to get into how we're going to upgrade the stereo system here in the Sprinter van. Alright, so I just pulled up here to Sierra Adventure Vans, and this is actually where we're going to install the RoamRig Beatbox right here in the shop. Mike and the folks over at Sierra Adventure Vans were nice enough to loan us their spot here inside their shop here in Truckee, California, so that we can do this install. Now the cool thing about the RoamRig guys is they've got a guy that travels around the country and does a lot of these types of installs. So we were able to cross paths up here in Truckee as I head my way up to the Overland Expo in Bend, Oregon. And right now we've got the system all set up on a bench over here, so we're going to talk to Lance from RoamRig and get a little bit of an overview of how the system installs in the Sprinter van, all the components that go into it, and how it really improves the sound here inside the Sprinter vans. So let's jump over to the bench and take a look at this thing. So here I am with Lance. He is from RoamRig, and he's going to give us a little bit of an overview of this RoamRig Beatbox system that we're going to install here in the Sprinter van.
All right, so starting here, this is the main system. This has our amplifier, the crossovers, line output converter. This is an ARC Audio 8-inch woofer powered by 300 watts off of our 4-channel amplifier here. This amplifier is an ARC Audio 600.4. This amplifier pushes 150 watts out of each of the 4 channels. We run this in a 3-channel configuration, 150 watts to each one of the front doors, and then we bridge 2 of the channels to run 300 watts to the subwoofer. Everything is contained all in one here, fits underneath the passenger seat. Here we have the 6.5-inch component set from ARC Audio. This is an X2 6.2. It's a 6.5-inch speaker here, 1-inch tweeter here. We're pushing 150 watts to these guys from the 4-channel amplifier. These are the harnesses that go into the doors. This actually is the input and the output for the amplifier. This runs from the output of the box itself here, and then out into each door, and then it has an input for the amplifier, and then it has an output for each one of the speakers, and then an output for the tweeter that goes up on the dash. All custom made specifically for us. This is our bass control knob. Something very unique to our system is that we provide you with this custom mounted below the cup holders in the 2019 and up Sprinters. This allows you to adjust the bass to each and every song. So if there's too much bass, you can turn it down. If there's not enough bass, you can turn it all the way up or anywhere in between.
Now what's cool about this subwoofer box that they have designed for this kit is the fact that not only does it incorporate the 8-inch subwoofer and all of the components that are needed to run this aftermarket system, is the fact that the whole thing is designed to fit perfectly under the passenger side seat base. That makes things nice and simple for installation. It keeps things organized inside the van for the installation. But for those of us that already have a van build already complete, we don't have to figure out how and where to incorporate a subwoofer into our already built out vans. This drops right underneath the passenger seat and we're good to go with some good quality sound upgrades. Also, one thing that is worth noting in this system is that this whole aftermarket sound upgrade is designed to work with the stock head unit here in the Sprinter van. Now that's where Lance has been talking about taking the full range signal, which comes from the stock head unit here in the Sprinter vans, and their system is designed to convert that full range output into the amplifiers and the crossovers and out to the speakers, so that we're getting high frequencies up in the tweeters, we're getting mid-range down in the door speakers, and all the lows come out of the sub underneath the seat. So that's the great thing, is that it's very minimal installation that needs to happen in order to make this work in the Sprinter van. We don't have to tear the dash apart and come up with an aftermarket head unit to make this work. Now that we've got an overview of the kit, we're going to go ahead and jump into the installation process. Now Shane with Sierra Adventure Vans here in Truckee is going to jump in on the install process with us and help us get this thing finished here in the Sprinter van. So one of the interesting things about my particular Sprinter van and the way it was ordered from the factory is the fact that it actually came with an auxiliary battery from the factory that was installed underneath my passenger seat. I've never actually used that battery for anything, so for this installation process we are removing that battery to make room for the subwoofer and the whole entire speaker system.
You're doing some weight saving too.
I'm gonna bet.
You need that? I think we got that. We're cooking now.
So at this point in the process, we've got the front seats completely removed. That's both the driver's seat and the passenger seat. All the floor mats are out. That allows the guys access to all the wiring that runs from the driver's seat to the passenger seat, from the dash back to the driver's seat, etc. So it looks like it's a big, huge process right now, but honestly, the way that these vans come apart, it's actually a fairly simple process, and it actually does go back together quite easily once the stereo kit is installed.
You've got your door handle holding it on. Panel off. There it is. Nothing really to it.
Now this is a prime example of why these upgrades are so worth it. Right here I've got the factory speaker that came out of the door. This is what comes in the van's factory from Mercedes. The whole frame of the speaker is actually made out of plastic, and let's take a look at that tiny little magnet on the back of that. Now for those of you that know much about speakers, the quality of the speaker really depends on the size of the magnet, etc. So we can see here, compared to the ARC audios, which I'll hold up here, we can see the difference in the size of the magnet. And this is built out of a metal frame on the back of the speaker, just a much higher quality speaker coming right here from ARC audio that's going inside the Sprinter van. So huge upgrade just right there. So another upgraded part of this system are the tweeters. Now this right here is the factory tweeter from Mercedes that is up in the dash, and we're going to go ahead and replace it with the ARC audio, which is part of the component speaker system by ARC. And so this is going to be a nice little upgrade on the tweeter side of things. So I'm here with Shane. We're at the passenger side door panel, and we're about to install the new ARC audio speakers here on the door panel. Now it does require an adapter, which is included with the kit, but the speakers actually mount right here to the door panel, so we're going to get on that right now. Now with the speaker installed on the door panel goes back on the door inside the Sprinter van. So now that the box is here in this position, we can kind of see a little bit more of how it's going to fit in underneath the seat. As you can see, everything has been designed to be a drop-in type of system. So we've gone ahead and removed that factory auxiliary battery. The underside of the seat is completely empty. All the wiring harness is all attached here, and the whole idea is that this thing will just sit perfectly down in this cavity. And here in a second, when Lance gets it dropped in there, we're going to see just how flush this sits underneath the seat. Lance is prepping things right now. We're going to drop this thing in. Okay, so here we can see the speaker box, and the amplifier and all the equipment is now dropped in its spot. We can see how beautifully this fits in here, how flush it is. In fact, right here, this is all the factory wiring that runs up to the electronic seats that I've got for heated seats and motorized seats. So that all comes up to there. And then the rest of the electronics that run the speaker box system are all ran out here. There's the harness that runs up to the head unit and then out to the speakers. Everything is all tucking nicely down in here into its factory positions. So one of the cool things here, as where the amplifier is installed on the box, once it's dropped in here, we actually have access to all the tuning controls here on the amplifier, which will be just behind this plastic panel anytime we need to adjust anything on the amp. So up here where the cup holders are in this area, we did go ahead and remove the cup holders, and this is where Lance actually just installed the bass knob right there. So with that little knob there, I'm going to have control over how much bass is coming out of the subwoofer under the seat. The wires have been ran, the bass knob is installed, the speaker box is dropped in underneath the seat. That pretty much means that installation is complete. From here we start reassembly of the van, putting in the seats back in and the floor mats, and then we can test drive this thing and see how it sounds. What do you think, Lance?
I know it's gonna sound good.
So, I mean, we did a little bit of messing around and stuff here. Typically, start to finish, how fast can you knock these installs out?
Usually from start to finish, anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, depending on the build of the van itself.
Sure. Yeah, I guess each van builds a little bit differently, so that brings some variation to it. But I thought it all went smooth. I mean, that's the thing, is once you've done one of these things, you've had the Sprinter van apart, they come apart quick, they go together quickly, so I thought everything went pretty darn smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically when you jump in here, I saw you turned all the EQs down on the stock stereo, so basically you want the head unit to be as flat as possible.
Just as flat as possible. And you can always adjust that, but it gives sort of a flat bass. And then if you need more tweeter for a certain song, you can turn the tweeter up, or you can turn the mid up. But we usually recommend that you just keep it flat.
Sure.
I mean, because at this point with the subwoofer, you shouldn't need more bass, and that's why we give you the little control here. Yeah. So you should never need to adjust anything. We also turn the automatic speed adjustment off too. Oh, okay. Because it will get really loud. Yeah. Because there's so much more power in here now. So.
Sure. So do you know what the stock power is on these?
Most vehicles, and even in aftermarket radio, is somewhere between 13 and 20 watts per channel.
So the crazy thing is, the stock Sprinter head unit was typically putting out anywhere from 13 to 20 watts. Now with the Beatbox system by RoamRig, it's a 600 watt amplifier. That means there's 150 watts going to the left side between the speaker and the tweeter, 150 watts going to the right side, and then the 8-inch subwoofer under my seat here in the passenger side, that thing is bridged at 300 watts. So it's a significant step up just in power. And then we throw in good quality speakers on top of that. This thing's gonna blast.
Should crank.
I'm stoked. Let's start this thing up.
All right.
Subwoofer, that's the other cool thing. We've got the subwoofer control. The subwoofer is all the way down.
You can turn it up a little bit. all the way up.
And I can feel it under my seat. It's like a massage. Just the clarity.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Get a little more volume out of it.
Yeah. It probably sounds even better. Nice work, man. Hell yeah, dude. That thing bumps. The funny thing is this, and the hard part is the quality of the sound is never gonna come through on the video. But I'm sitting here and Lance's phone is like vibrating across the dash as we're listening to it. I had to actually pick it up and put it back up there. That's just how much bass is now in this. I mean, it's night and day difference.
Yep, that little 8-inch woofer in that correct sized box. Everyone always asks what's under there, and if you, when you tell them it's an 8-inch woofer, they like there's no way it's an 8-inch woofer. So it's really, really good.
Hell
really,
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
And just, I spend so much time in the driver's seat driving states through states through states, from Baja, Mexico, all the way to the Arctic Ocean. So I love listening to audiobooks. I love listening to podcasts. And of course, you throw your favorite tunes on and you want to be jamming out. And that was always one thing that was less than desired in the Sprinter Vans. But now I have a feeling this is going to be a whole different scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It improves everything from the Bluetooth, like the hands-free calling part of it, all the way to an audiobook. Adding a little bit of bass to somebody's voice.
Yeah.
Everyone's voice has a little bit of bass. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so all from top to bottom, it improves the audio in here.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm stoked to go hit the road now and just jam out to tunes. I mean, I grew up in high school always enjoying a good bass system and good speakers and amplifiers. So now the fact to be able to integrate this in the Sprinter Van and the way that it fits in so well. I mean, everything goes in its factory spots. The subwoofer and all the amps slip perfectly underneath the seat. And you, besides the amazing sound, you don't actually realize that anything's changed. You're not dealing with subwoofers in your cabinets or on your floor taking up space. Everything integrates so well into the stock Sprinter system, and I think it's incredible to be able to pull that kind of sound out of it.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man. Nice
I'm
work.
excited for you to get on the road and check it out, because I mean, it makes driving so much better.
Yeah.
You don't dread having to drive 3 or 4 hours. It's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And whoever's riding with you gets a good massage while you're at it, because that sub is like right under the seat here.
That's
so
definitely an
that's
advantage.
pretty cool. Hell yeah. Well, we just hung out here inside the van for like the last half hour, just playing through all our different favorite songs. And this is going to be a game changer for those days where it's hour after hour and mile after mile of traveling sitting in the driver's seat, because this thing right now rocks. And the hard part is the camera is not going to do it justice, the video is not going to do it justice, but you're definitely going to have to take my word for it. And if you ever catch me on the road anywhere, definitely ask me to stop and listen to the van, because this thing's just incredible. So cool to have such a game-changing opportunity here inside the Sprinter Van. Well guys, I was just here in the edit studio up here in Washington finishing up the editing on this video, and I just wanted to jump back in here and recap for just a moment just how great this RoamRig Beatbox has been as an upgrade in the Sprinter Van. Over the last several months that I've had the speaker system installed here on the Sprinter Van, I've probably put in several thousand miles down some long, lonely highways here in the western United States. And having this as an upgrade in the Sprinter Van has been absolutely game changer. Now, since I have had this system installed, Aaron and the folks over at RoamRig have actually developed a 10-inch subwoofer to fit in the same space underneath the passenger seat. Now, the 8-inch subwoofer was very, very, very good. And for you type of audiophiles that like to just really have that nice full sound, the 8-inch subwoofer has been absolutely excellent for accomplishing just that. Now me, myself, I'm the type of person that really likes to crank up the sound. I really like to feel the bass, not just hear the bass, but I like to feel it. And so this 10-inch subwoofer, which Aaron actually sent me here a few weeks ago, and the guys got it installed while we were out at the Revel Rally out in Moab. And I gotta say, this 10-inch subwoofer absolutely rocks. Now this system, I would say, is like a full solid, like very, very good upgrade to the Sprinter van. So now with RoamRig, you've got two different options. You've got that 8-inch subwoofer if you just like a nice full sound. But then if you want to really crank it up, you've got the option of installing the 10-inch subwoofer. So if you guys are interested in any of this upgrade for your Sprinter van, then definitely head on over to RoamRig. I will put a link in the description down below. Go give those guys a shot and see what they have to offer. I guarantee you it is worth the time. It's worth the money as an upgrade, because the stock sound systems in these Sprinter vans are very, very lackluster. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go find my next Living the Van Life adventure with some darn good tunes going, that's for sure. All right, guys, I'm out here. Peace out. Keep on trucking.